Right, good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome along to In the News Assembly with myself this afternoon. So it's Wednesday, 17th of November. The assembly is a little bit different today because I've already recorded the assembly, and that's, boys and girls, because I've had another meeting that I was due into. So I didn't want to let you down by not seeing you today in assembly. So welcome along to In the News Assembly. So today we're going to think about local news, national news, and some international news. And I'm going to be asking your adults to help me out a little bit later on by pausing this video partway through just to share some of the news stories. So let's start off by having a little think about all those things that are happening either on television that you've seen or heard, on the radio that you may have heard, or you may have seen something in a newspaper or a magazine, or it could be a big news story that's currently happening in your household. So I would like you to have a little think about those things that are happening at the moment. And if you've got something to share, I want you to put your hand up, and I'm going to ask you to share that with your adult now. And they're just going to pause this video just so they can listen to those things. Right, I'm hoping that you've shared plenty of ideas and plenty of things that you've seen, heard, or discussed either at home or in school. So hoping that you've had some amazing news stories to share. And as I say, there's lots happening in the news at the moment. So I picked out 3 news stories to share with you this afternoon. And this is my first news story. And I'm guessing by looking at that picture, most of you will know what this is about. And there is a word on there to help us, and it says vaccine. And on the news at the moment, you might have heard lots of things about vaccines. And we did discuss this in last week's In the News Assembly. So this is some special news that's come out of America. So an international news story. So a vaccine that protects people against coronavirus is nearly 95% effective. That's according to early data from US pharmaceutical company Moderna, which tested its vaccine on 30,000 Americans. It's the second company to announce successful trial results and comes a week after another trial of a vaccine offered 90% protection from the virus. However, the vaccines have not been approved for use yet, and it's not known how well they will work on the elderly or how long the immunity lasts for. So this is a big news story, international news story at the moment, which is hopefully going to make life a lot easier for all of us after Christmas. So the first vaccine was a vaccine that's been developed in Germany, and that's with 90% of people being protected from coronavirus. And the second vaccine is a vaccine that's been developed in America. So something to hopefully look forward to after Christmas. So that's my first news story, and that's an international news story. This is my second news story. And I'm pausing there just to look at the picture. I wonder if you can work out what the news story might be about. Now, unless you play this game, you might not, but there is a clue at the bottom right hand corner of the picture where it says the word Nintendo. So this would suggest it's got something to do with video games. Now, I'm really interested in this news story because I spend a lot of time talking to my own children about the amount of time they spend online and how much time they spend playing video games, especially my son. But a new study has found that playing video games can make you happier. Researchers at Oxford University studied data from 3,274 gamers who played Nintendo's Animal Crossing New Horizons and EA's Plants vs. Zombies. The developers of the game sent the researchers information about how long each person had played for, and the players were asked questions about their mental well-being. This is the first time a study like this has been able to link up psychological questionnaires with actual in-game playtime. Now, this story interested me for a number of reasons. Firstly, the fact that a link's been made between playing online and playing video games and making people happier. And a lot of people I know play video games for fun. But the second thing that interested me about this news story was the term researcher. Now, I wonder if you know what the term research or researcher means. So again, I'm just going to ask your adults just to pause the video and see either if you know what a researcher is, or if not, whether they can explain that to you. So I'm going to ask them to pause that video for me just now. Right, so hopefully you've discovered what a researcher is. So where we find out about things. Now, researching video games, that sounds like quite an interesting job to have, doesn't it? So I wonder if there's anything you would want to research. If you had the opportunity to research anything at all, if it was your opportunity to find out about anything at all, what would you research and why? So just think about these people at Oxford University, where their job is to find out about whether people are happier playing video games or not. So what would you research? What would you want to find more out about? So again, I'm just going to ask the adults just to pause the video for you to share those ideas with them. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to come up with some ideas for researching. One of the things I'd like to research, I like to find out whether having more sleep would make me better at my job. I think that would be a fantastic research project, because that would involve me having to spend longer in my bed and less time working. I'm not quite sure how the other adults in school would feel about me participating in that research, and whether Mr. Hobbs, who's our chair of governors, how he would feel about me not coming to work and sleeping more. So probably not the best idea for research there. This is my third news story, and I heard this on the radio this morning. So I listen to Capital Radio in the morning. I always have music on in the background or the radio, and I heard this news story. So it's obviously got something to do with a pigeon. Now, at first you might look at it and think it's just to do maybe with pigeons in a city, for example. So I spend a lot of time in Leeds city centre, and there's lots of pigeons there that are flying around and landing and wait for people to feed them. But this is not about any normal pigeon. This story is about a racing pigeon. So racing pigeons, you might have family members that race pigeons, involve pigeons that you keep. And what pigeons do is they've got this very special sense, which means they can find their own homes. So you can drive them away hundreds of miles away from their home, let them go, and they fly back home. So they're called homing pigeons. And what happens with pigeon racing is all of these pigeons are loaded up onto a truck by their owners. The truck is then driven away hundreds of miles away from the home, and then they're all released at the same time. And then what happens is when they arrive back at their own pigeon lofts where they live, the owners have to record how long it took them to get back. And that's how they measure who the winner is. So this story is about a racing pigeon. So Newt Kim, a 2-year-old champion racing pigeon, was sold at auction for a record-breaking $1.8 million. Now, I didn't know how much that was in pounds, in sterling. So that's around £1.3 million. So £1.3 million for one pigeon. Wow. So the auction house, Piper, said, "We did not expect the pigeon price would go so high." Neither did I. Wow. Belgian pigeons have a reputation for fetching a high price. Newt Kim has overtaken a pigeon called Armando, nicknamed the Lewis Hamilton of pigeons, who's bought for a pricey £1.07 million in 2019. Newt Kim was bred by Gaston van der Wouwer, a well-known trainer of champion racing pigeons, who is now retiring and selling all of his 400 birds. Wow, £1.3 million. I wonder if you had £1.3 million in your back pocket, if you had that in your house, or you managed to win that, adults, on the national lottery, I don't think many of you would choose to spend that amount of money on a racing pigeon. But what it did make me think about, boys and girls, was I wonder if this is the priciest pet or animal ever. So I've done a little bit of research to find out. Now, I was amazed to find out the prices of animals. So here we've got a picture of a sheepdog. And this is Megan the sheepdog. So Megan broke the record for the price paid for a sheepdog. Now this is an English sheepdog. She was sold during an auction with a winning bid of £18,900. So that's the cost of buying a really nice car. £18,900 for this dog. So Megan was trained by Emma Gray, a shepherdess who spends her time breeding and training sheepdogs. Megan's been brought by a farmer in Oklahoma in America. Emma said Megan is such a special dog, she's become very valuable. So £18,900 for a sheepdog. So I continued my research to try and find out about other animals that cost lots of money. And I found about this. So I haven't actually got a picture of the sheep, but this is a sheep. So a sheep named Dervendale Perfection from Banffshire, Scotland, sold for the remarkable sum of £231,000 in 2009. What a balmy price, says the news story. It is believed to be the world's most expensive sheep. The high price has been put down to the lamb's strong physical attributes. In other words, it is built like the perfect lamb or sheep. £231,000. So what would that buy you? That will buy you an extremely nice house. In some cases, it might even buy you 2 or 3 houses. So for the price of 1 sheep, you could buy 2 houses. £231,000. Wow, my goodness. Again, I carried on and I tried to find out about other animals. So what about pets? So we've talked about pigeon. We've talked about a sheepdog, and a sheepdog is a working dog, so helps farmers on their farms, and sheep that would live on a farm. But I wonder about domestic animals, so animals that may live with you in your home. And I found out about this one. So this is a Tibetan Mastiff dog. So it's a breed of dog, and it's a huge dog. And this one is in China. So this huge big ball of fur can be sold for prices up to around £945,000. Mastiffs have become a prize status symbol amongst China's wealthy population, with rich buyers across the country pushing the prices higher and higher. They are descendants of dogs used for hunting by ancient tribes in Central Asia and Tibet, and are fiercely loyal and protective. So the price of these dogs now is £945,000. Now I'm just wondering whether any of our Key Stage 2 children could work out how many pounds it would be to top that price up to £1 million. How many pounds to make £1 million? So I'm just going to pause there and ask your teachers or adults just to pause just for a second. So you've probably worked it out. £55,000 would take up to £1 million. So it's almost £1 million. My goodness, could you imagine spending that amount of money on a dog, especially when there's lots and lots of dogs at the moment that are looking for adoption? For example, by the RSPCA, they may have dogs in kennels. The Dogs Trust may have dogs in kennels that are looking for new homes and to be adopted. I cannot imagine paying £945,000 for a dog. So, boys and girls, what I've got there is several news stories this afternoon, both local that are local to you in your homes that you've been discussing in your class. Then we've had national news stories and international news stories. So I'm going to leave you in a moment to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I want you to carry on working hard, enjoy the last few minutes of school, and I will see you very soon. So bye-bye for now. See you later. Bye now.